Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook and Zoom registrants. Thank you for joining me. I am Melissa Cranen, and I'm coming on behalf of Times of Expression and Refreshing Facebook group. And we are coming to talk to you about financial health. Financial health is as important as your physical, mental, and emotional health. And here in Times of Expression and Refreshing Ministries, we are all about the whole body, being complete and whole through Jesus Christ with your spiritual foundation. But it doesn't just stop there. We have to be practically whole as well, just not spiritually whole, but practically whole, because although we're not of this world, we are in this world, and we have to be practically well. So we talk about our self-care, in your body and your mind, your soul, your spirit. But today I am here. My purpose is to talk about financial health. And we always come with a spiritual background. This is probably our fifth class so far. We did not meet in February, but here we are on the second Saturday, and I'm so glad you were able to join me. And if you were not able to join, I sure hope you share and watch by replay. But today we're going to talk about savings. How, why, should we? All those things. And we're going to be with you for about an hour today. So yes, we got lots to talk about. So let's get started. Again, I want to say, I'm coming on behalf of Times of Expression and Refreshing. Our leader is Miosha Culpepper. So let's give her a hand. She is the founder and the visionary of Times of Expression and Refreshing. So let's get started. How many of you are savers? Are you a saver by nature? Are you a saver self-taught? Is it a natural behavior? Some people, you have to purposely and intentionally save, and that's okay, because saving should be on purpose. It should be intentional. So let's talk about why we should save, how and how much we should save, when, and the best ways to save. I'm also going to talk about what things prevent you from saving. And we're going to do all this in an hour. If you have a question, please put it in the chat on Facebook, and I will go back and respond to you directly in the chat after the live. If you are a registrant at terministries.com, you'll be able to join me by Zoom and interact with me live. If I don't see your comment right away, it's being recorded. I definitely will go back and respond to you. If you would like, please put your email address in the chat on Facebook or in Zoom, and we will add you to our email list, and you will get all of our information and our notices of things coming up, as well as you'll be able to join the Facebook group. And we have daily motivational postings and memes, so you can stay connected with us. So let's go. What is savings? Savings isn't just extra money. It's money you set aside on purpose for a purpose. On purpose for a purpose. It's a process of setting aside a portion of your current income for future use. Now, if you don't treat it like that, you won't respect it and you'll spend it. Yes, I said it. You have to respect your money, or it will end up disrespecting you. And I mean that in public. If you don't have a good, healthy respect for your finances, you'll be embarrassed by your finances in a public place, when you go to buy a car, when you go to buy a house, when you go to open an account at the department store, what have you, or when they run your background for a job. If you don't have a healthy respect for your finances, it'll end up embarrassing you or disrespecting you. But we can control that. All right, let's continue talking about savings. You have to have a purpose or it won't work. That's bottom line. You have to have a purpose or it won't work. So let's talk about how. You don't know where you are going if you don't know where you are presently. The way to know where you are presently and prepare yourself for where you want to be, you need to start with a budget. A budget is an estimate of what you expect to bring in and what you expect to go out based on your finances or your resources. Everybody's finances are different. Everybody's resources are different. So everyone's budget is not, and it doesn't have to look the same. I've been budgeting for the last at least 20 years, maybe 15 minimum. And my budget right now is, many rows because I like to be very detailed, but it doesn't have to look just like mine, but you have to start somewhere. Now let's look at these examples. I have some examples and I'm going to share my screen with you. Give me a moment and let's share. I want to show you an example of some budgets. I hope you can see this. Now, in this budget example, these are very basic, very simple, and feel free to take a snapshot or a screenshot, and you can use this. This is in Excel. You can use Google Sheets as well, whatever spreadsheet system you want. And you know what? If you're not handy on the computer, a good old piece of paper and pencil. That's what my dad used to do. He had paper and pencil and he would write it out. Sometimes it was on a nice clean white sheet of paper and sometimes it was on the back of an envelope. But the point is, he said, this is where I need to be. So he had to detail it out. So let's look at this example. In the first example on the left, they both say the month of June. This is the checking account. That's why there's a header checking. You have your job, or whatever your resource is. It might be on disability, might be Social Security, whatever your source of income is, that's where you put how much money you have coming in, right? And other, that could be anywhere else. Maybe you have other money coming in or a second resource. T&O. T&O means, for me, tithes and offering. Notice that's the first line, the first item. Why? Because here in TER, we believe that tithing is fundamental and you have to learn to give in order to receive. It's part of God's principle for your prosperity. It is his plan for you to prosper. So tithes and offering, if you're going to have me as an example or a leader, a mentor, a teacher, I'm always going to start with that principle, tithes and offerings. It's my fundamental belief for my financial health. So tithes and offering. It looks like I changed the numbers a little bit. Tithing, we believe, is 10%, as the word says. So this should say 300, but you get the idea. And then you have mortgage or rent. You have electricity bill. Again, this is very basic. You can tune it just for your specific ideas. Gas bill, car insurance, car payment, groceries, gas, miscellaneous. I always put miscellaneous because the truth of the matter is I'm going to buy myself something. I'm going to go out to eat. You know what? Don't set yourself up for failure saying you're not going to spend some money on yourself or something might come up. This is miscellaneous. So remaining is $500 based on these examples here. But if you look further to the right, here's another example. Same amount of money, same items here. Miscellaneous is the same. But if you see here, in this example, I purposely, intentionally put $400 away for savings, $400. So that only leaves 100 remaining. That's 100 left over after I spent everything I intended to spend, intended to go out, including savings. The difference here is if you don't intentionally put money away, this remaining, you won't respect it. You'll say, hey, I got $500. You'll go here, there, buy this, buy that, usually on unnecessary, unplanned things, and you'll never get back to the savings. So you have to intentionally mark it, intentionally put it away, give it a purpose. And if you put it away, then you don't have to worry about remembering to get back to it. I hope that made sense to you. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. You have to be intentional. The Bible talks about being intentional and doing things on purpose. And not just do it, but be diligent at doing it. Responsible and accountable. When you are sloppy and impulsive, inconsistent, it leads to poverty. Yes, poverty. Maybe not dirt broke, but less than what was intended. Less than what God intended for you to be, what God intended for you to have. He intended for you to be at the top and not the bottom, first and not last, ahead and not behind. But if you are sloppy and impulsive and inconsistent in your personal practical wealth, it's going to lead to less than and unnecessary hardships. Again, we always take it back to the word of God because we believe that's fundamental principles. So Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5, I'm going to read that to you. You can write it down. It says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty or impulsive comes only to poverty. I'll read it again. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty, sloppy, impulsive comes only to poverty. That's what the word says. So I didn't make that up. That's what the inspired word of God says. I'm also going to read Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2 through 3. It says, and the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, on paper, on spreadsheets, in a book, so he may run who reads it. What does it mean, so he may run? So you can go forth for what that plan is. You have to write it down and make it plain. It continues and says, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Your budget, we just showed you an example. I just showed you. Your budget is your vision. It's your plan. Your vision on how you want your week, your month, your year to go. Make it plain. Make it simple. Make it real. It has to be reality. Don't make some fictional budget of where you want to be in 20 years. What do your finances look right now? What are your immediate needs? Make it plain. Make it real. Put it before you so you can monitor it. You have to make it plain, you have to make it realistic, and you have to make it purposeful. You have to be intentional on checking to see how well you did at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. I happen to look at my bank accounts. I have several different bank accounts with different banks. I look at them weekly. One of them, I look at it daily. So nothing surprises me. There's nothing worse than checking your credit card or your bank account and you see that there was a fee or something came through that you don't recognize and it takes you a minute to realize what that was. There's nothing like that. And sometimes you might miss it. If you don't check, it'll go unchecked and unmanaged. If you don't make it a point to check, your finances will go unchecked and unmanaged. If you check it multiple times during the month, you will be able to right some wrongs. If you start managing, this is what I meant to do, but this is what I'm actually doing, you'll be able to right some wrongs. Okay, half of my miscellaneous, remember we had about $250 available for miscellaneous. And you see within the first week, you've already spent half. You're not on track for meeting that. You're actually on track for blowing your budget. So if you check often, you'll be able to right some wrongs. You'll be able to right your path. If it's going crooked, you can make it straight. Okay, you're gonna have to tell yourself, all right, I'm spending too much. Let me pull back. I'm gonna be outside my budget if I continue down this track. So you want to monitor often. Okay, so this was just an example of a budget. Now, some people can put away intentionally more than others. It's all based on your situation. So in my example, I intentionally put away $400. That might not be relevant to your situation. Maybe it's 200, maybe it's $1,000, but be realistic and push yourself. Don't make it too easy. Stretch yourself a little bit. Remember, you're planning for your future. And Lord willing, we're not supposed to worry about tomorrow, but we are supposed to plan. And Lord willing, we'll be here for many years to come, many weeks to come, many months to come. So plan intentionally and stretch yourself. It's all relative to how much you make, right? Now, experts say put 10% away for savings. What I say, and this is just my opinion, you give 10% first back to God, 10% to your savings, and then you make the 80% work for your needs. Make it work for your needs. You may realize during this process, some of what you thought were needs are actually wants. When you get to planning and putting down and writing and making it plain, when you get to going through and looking through your bank history, or you're looking through your credit card. Some people use credit cards mostly. I'm more of a credit card person, and that's because I like my rewards. I get points and I get cash back. So I use my credit card for everything. But I can do that because I'm very disciplined to pay my credit card bills. But one reason, let me explain, one reason why I use my credit cards religiously, so to speak, is because they put in a graph all the categories of what I spend. So it's real easy. At the end of the month, it says you spent this on charity. Yes, because I pay my tithes with my credit card. And you spent this on eating out, and you spent this at grocery stores, and you spent this on your vehicle, and you spent this on entertainment. So it shows me my spending habits right there in front of me. Right there in front of me. But it also, day to day, each transaction, it gives me, a history where it was and whatnot. So it's easy for me to monitor and update my budget. I have my budget and then I have my actual. And I do that every week. So I see where I'm going, right? And I can right my wrongs. You may learn, once you start viewing your spending, you may learn you got to eat out less. You may learn you need to bargain shop better. You need to maybe brown label it at the grocery store. It doesn't mean you're cheating yourself. Don't think of it that way. Just because you look for the sales and you look for the best buy and you don't buy the most expensive brand doesn't mean you're cheating yourself. Actually, it's the opposite. It means you're putting yourself first. Put your future self first. Can you see yourself in the future? Can you see yourself living better, having a better living situation, a better driving situation, a better saving situation? Can you visualize your future self being better than your current? So budgeting now is putting your future self first. Putting a savings away intentionally is putting your future self first. Don't be greedy. And don't be selfish. Don't let your current self be greedy and selfish, and you're holding back from your future self. Share with your future. That's what savings does. It shares with your future. You need to put enough away for a rainy day or an emergency fund. Emergency funds should be 4 to 6 months worth of your total expected monthly outlay. Like in our example, if we started out with 3,000, right? And we had 500 left over, that means our monthly spend, our monthly outlay is about $2,500, right? So if you put 4 months away, you need to have an emergency fund of $10,000. That's 4 months of your monthly outlay. Do this first. Let that be your first purpose savings, emergency fund. That's your first purpose savings. Do this first, get it out the way, and then you can save for another purpose, like retirement, vacation fund, home down payment, new vehicle, a college fund. All of those are purposed savings accounts, right? Now, why do I say Do that first, get the emergency fund out of the way first instead of retirement. I know retirement is very important. It's your future self. But if you run into an emergency, it's not very easy to pull from your retirement. You have to have specific reasons. You got to fill out paperwork. It might take 2 or 3 weeks for them to get it back. Then you got to pay taxes on it, all that kind of stuff. It's better to have your emergency fund met first, then start saving for these other things if you can't do it simultaneously. Everybody can't have several purposed savings accounts because your income is limited. But if your income is not limited and you have some extra, then you can do more than one purposed savings accounts. Okay, so some would like to know, when is the best time to save? Now is always the best time. Why wait to do something when you can start today? Now is the best time. But let me tell you when it's not a good time to be stacking away cash. People talk about stacks of money. When is it not a good idea to stack away your cash? Let me tell you, when you have a lot of debt. That's not the time to be stacking away your cash when you have a lot of debt. No, ma'am. No, sir. If you have a lot of revolving debt, like credit card debt, that's typically anywhere from 19.99% to 24.99% interest rate. Most credit cards are up there, yes. Most credit cards are 19 and above interest rate. Pay that debt down. Pay it down, please. It makes no financial sense. It's not financially healthy to make minimum payments on your credit cards and turn around and stack your cash in the bank. Let me explain why. The bank is only paying you 1% interest if you're lucky. If you're lucky, some is 0.5%. Standard savings accounts in your bank. If you go to Chase right now, you're going to get maybe 0.5% interest rate, while your credit card is charging you 20%. So let me break that down and be very practical to you. If you have $100, and your $100 is in your Chase savings account, regular standard savings account, you are earning, if it's 1%, you are earning $1 over a year's time. $1 over a year. I'm going to say it again. $1 over a year's time, while not paying your credit card, the same $100. If you don't take that $100 and put it on your credit card, it's costing you $20 over a year's time. Actually, a little bit more because it compounds. You're going to pay interest on top of the interest that they charged you last month. It's compounding, right? But let's just keep it real simple. That $100 in your bank is earning you $1. The $100 you're not spending on your credit card is costing you $20. That's a $19 differential, y'all. Do you see how that is backwards? It's backwards. It's not financially sound. So if you have a lot of credit card debt, don't go stacking your money. Pay down the debt. People preach savings without qualifying it with education on reducing your debt first. In my opinion, in my sound opinion, it's more important to pay your revolving debt down before stacking cash. Am I saying don't save it all? No. I'm saying make it your primary focus to pay down the debt and not stack away cash. Maybe put a little bit away, but you need to make paying that debt down first. You ask, what if I put all my money towards credit cards and an emergency comes up? Well, if that's the case, use the credit card for the emergency. Number one, if you have been paying regularly and timely, you should have a credit line available. If you've been taking your money purposely to pay down that credit card debt, then you should have some credit line available for your emergency. Number two, you may be able to get a 12 to 18 month interest-free promotion on that credit card. If you've been paying regularly, you've been paying timely, you've been good with your spending, your utilization is down. We talked about that a couple weeks ago when we talked about credit. If you've been doing all those good things and been very responsible with your credit, they might give you a 12 to 18 month interest-free promotion, which means you got 12 to 18 months to pay for that emergency interest-free. And if not on that credit card, if you've been very responsible with your credit in general, you might be able to open a new credit account with that 12 to 18 month promotion and take care of that emergency immediately. And you have 12 to 18 months to pay for it interest-free. The third reason, number three, good credit history may get you an increase in that credit line just by asking. If you've been responsible, you've been paying timely, you've been paying regular, you keep the utilization down, you might be able to say, I want a credit increase. Just hit the button. They ask you one or two questions. Within 30 seconds, you may have another $1,000 to $2,000 available for your emergency. And if you play it right, like I just explained, you might have 12 to 18 months to pay that emergency. So yes, it's okay to take your extra money, purpose it to paying down your debt before you stack away cash and still be covered in an emergency. Now, if your job or your income is secure, make a habit of paying your debt in greater proportion to savings. If your income is unstable, that's a different situation. If your income is unstable, you're in between jobs, you're in transition, right? We just came through a whole terrible COVID season where a lot of people's jobs were inconsistent or unstable. In that case, just concentrate on paying your regular routine bills, including paying ahead on rent, your car notes. If you made good money, you worked temporarily, or that month your money was stable and you had extra, but you don't know if next month it's going to be the same way because of the job market, then pay ahead on your rent, pay ahead on your car note, put money away for your next month rent. It's not extra money. Very rarely is money extra. There's always a use and there's always a purpose for it. Okay. So let's talk about what are the best ways to save. There are many ways to save money. It depends on what the purpose is. Budget it. Don't let it be leftover. Give it its own line. On that budget example, savings has its own line. It's not just leftover money. It's purposed. Give savings its own line. Some people work with cash. I know a sister-in-law of mine, she is a hairdresser. So she works with cash a lot. She gets cash, she pays stuff with cash. So she tried this budgeting effort by putting cash in envelopes. If you're not disciplined with a credit card, like I am maybe, and you don't like using a card because you get in trouble that way and you can't really track, then try saving and budgeting by putting money in envelopes. So you have designated $200 for eating out, $200 for groceries, $300 for gas, whatever it is. When that money is gone, then it's gone. When that envelope is empty, then that's it. No more eating out for the month. You overspent. If you got more time than you have money, you did something wrong. Learn from it and do better next time. Another way to save is enroll in 401k. If your job offers it, allow money to be withheld because it's withheld tax-free. It's called pre-tax savings. It'll grow, and the bonus is if your company matches it, a lot of companies will do an employer match. That's double the savings with only one pointed effort. All you had to do was make a decision intentionally to allow money to be withheld from your check, tax-free. They will match it. You get 2 for 1. Oh, that's a great way to save. Here's another way to save. Couponing or comparison shopping. Now, I'm gonna admit, I'm not much of a couponer. It takes a lot of time and effort. I just don't have that kind of time to really be looking through all the papers and cutting coupons or whatever. But it does pay off. But some of the easiest things to do is grocery shop with a store app. Online savings, use coupon codes. Check Retail Me Not for a coupon code. A lot of times your credit cards have special savings in special categories. I know Vons and Ralph's, if you buy 5, you save $5, things like that. Don't despise the small savings. People act like, oh, it was just $1. It's just 2%. It's just 1%. Well, 2% on $100 is $2. If you spend that $100 every month, that's $24 in a year. What can you do with $24? That's a nice dinner at, I don't know, Red Robin or Olive Garden, or $24 can buy you, 4 frappuccinos somewhere. Don't despise the small things. And again, I just used a small dollar. Let me tell you, I used an app at Walmart because I shop at the Walmart grocery store sometimes, or a lot actually. And they have this app called Savings Catcher. And let me tell you, I shop like I normally shop. I don't coupon, I just shop, right? But then I scan my receipt and it tells me if I could have found that same item at a different store for less money, it'll give me that difference. And let me tell you, over maybe an 8-month purchase, 8-month period of time, my savings catcher catched like 140 bucks. 140 bucks, and I did nothing different. I just went grocery shopping. I took an extra 30 seconds to scan my receipt and I let it do what it do. And sometimes I paid attention and sometimes I didn't. And the next time I looked, about 8 months later, I had $140 that I was able to what? Transfer to my bank account. I just transferred it to my bank account. Or I left it on the Walmart like gift card and I used it for free groceries. I didn't do anything extra. It's not hard to save. It might take a little bit of effort here and there, but don't despise it. $140 over 8 months, and I spent 30 seconds each time. That's very profitable work. Okay, here's another one. Your credit cards. I already talked about it. I use my credit cards for everything because all of my credit cards, I do not get a credit card unless it has rewards. I either get cash back, and some I get double cash back. I get cash back when I buy it. I get cash back when I pay for it. I get travel points. I save those up and I use it towards special purchases, right? So it's like a savings account. It's money I didn't have to put away. They put away for me. So it's a savings account that I didn't even have to fund. You have to look at it that way. For instance, I use a Citibank double rewards, double cash back. So I get 1% for spending and 1% for paying for it, right? I don't touch it all year long. And it comes out to be about, I want to say $1,200 in a year. I use that $1,200 to pay for my timeshare maintenance. If any of you know about timeshares, then it's a pain, but we're not talking about timeshares right now, but don't get one. But anyway, if you have one, you have maintenance fees every year. My maintenance fees happen to be $1,100 a year. Oh, that's a lot of money. But guess what I did? I use my cashback rewards to pay for my maintenance fees, period. Nothing came out of my pocket. Citibank gave me the money to pay for my maintenance fees. I didn't touch it though. I allowed it to accumulate like a savings account. It had a purpose, it had a point, it was intentional, and it took care of a need that I didn't have to take care of. Here's another way. Again, if you handle a lot of cash, do the $5 challenge. I learned that from another Facebook group. The $5 challenge. Every time a $5 bill comes in your hand, put it away. And if you deal with a lot of cash, like my sister-in-law does, she does hair, so people pay her. If you use cash a lot, every time you get change, if there's a $5 bill, it can be painful sometimes. Sometimes you buy something for $20 and it was only $4 and they give you $15, 3 5s back. Yeah, you have to be disciplined, but put those $5 bills away. It's called the $5 challenge. And then at the end of the year, see how much money you have. It can be your Christmas fund. It could be your do something for myself fund, whatever. Put a name on it. Challenge yourself. Put a name on it. Do it on purpose. Be disciplined. And at the end of the year or whatever the period of time you set, see how much money you have. And then you can do something with that. Okay, here's another way. Pay your credit card in full each month. Save on the interest. We're talking about savings again, right? It's not always putting money away. How about save on spending money? Save on cost. If you pay your credit card debt in full each month, you're going to save on interest. Now, what is interest? Interest is making them rich, not you. Interest is like throwing money away. Interest keeps you from saving. Not monitoring your spending keeps you from saving. Frivolous, unchecked spending keeps you from saving. Don't make it harder to save by overspending. Don't make it harder to save by spending too much on interest. That's throwing your money away. Finally, all week long, we've been posting about this class. And on Finance Friday, on TER Ministries group page, I post a Finance Friday. And this time I post, check your impulses at the clock. And I know that sounded weird, like what? Check it at the clock? Absolutely. I heard about this and it totally made sense to me. Now let me explain. Check your impulses at the clock. For those of you who work by the hour and you get paid hourly, right? You know, in California, for every hour over 8 in a day and over 40 in a week, you get paid time and a half, right? For every hour. So think about it this way. If you desire something or you want something, not a need, I'm not talking about your groceries and your gas and your rent and your car note. I'm talking about you have a want. Think of it like you have to pay for it with your overtime. So let me give you an example. There's a $300 Michael Kors purse, right? That's probably a small one, right? And let's just say you make $20 an hour, regular, right? So overtime is what? $30 an hour. That's time and a half, right? It'll take you 10 hours of overtime to pay for that one small Michael Kors purse. 10 hours of overtime. Suddenly, when you think about it, is that $300 purse worth you working an extra 10 hours? Is it worth you staying at that job for 10 more hours after working a full-time 40-hour week for a purse? I don't know. Maybe that $100 purse on the other rack is better because that's only 3.5 hours of overtime. Instead of considering your disposable income as free money, extra money, money I can do whatever with, equate your spending to additional work. Let me tell you, it curbs your enthusiasm. Have you heard that saying before? Curbs your enthusiasm. It kind of halts it. It kind of puts a roadblock. It curbs it out. You're not as excited or happy or impulsive. It checks your impulses. So that's why I say, check your impulse at the clock. How many more hours am I going to have to clock to get that purse? How many more hours am I going to have to clock to go have this impulsive weekend at Catalina? How many more hours am I going to have to clock to get them fancy shoes that I have 2 other pairs of? And hey, if you don't mind working an extra 10 hours for that impulsive weekend, go for it. But make sure it makes sense to you, because again, no money is extra money. It should all have a purpose. It should all be designated and there should be an intent for all your spending. Only do this if you have a savings line already in your budget. Don't let your savings be from the leftover. Because if you do that, you're really going to have leftover. Why? Because you're going to find a reason to spend that money all the time. Let's talk about where to put your money. Anywhere but under your mattress. Put your money anywhere but under your mattress. Your money needs to make money. Purpose your money to make money. Now, I don't know much about investing in the stock market, so I can't advise you on stock market investments. That's not why I'm here. But I know if you invest in the stock market, be prepared to spend all your time watching them if it's short-term investments, or be prepared to invest and walk away. Let it do what it do. Be ready to risk losing it in order for the gamble of potential gain. Let me give you an example. Again, I'm not an expert on the stock market or investing, but I did buy some Amazon stock back in 2018. This is when it was like $1,700 per share. That's a lot of money. But I saw where Amazon was going. Oh my gosh, I wanted to get in on it. I wish I got on it 10, 15 years ago when it was $100. But I decided to get into it 2018 at $1,600, $1,700, right? Within 2 months, each one of my stock, and I only had about 5, grew to $2,000 a share. So I made like $1,500 in like 2 months. Man, I was stoked. I was so excited. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is the thing. I think I even took that gain, right? Now, it wasn't tangible gain. It was gain in the stock market. And I said, I'm going to buy another one because this is going. So I think I put up $2,000 because now it's worth $2,000 and bought one more share, and I'm going to be rich off of this. And then something happened. I don't know what happened. It was prior to COVID. It dropped. Oh my gosh. You want to see a woman cry, a grown woman cry? All that money, market money, market gain that I have was gone, and it even went below my initial investment. So it went from 2,000 and dropped all the way down to like $1,400. All that extra money I lost, and I was looking at it every day, and I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take seeing it go up and down, up and down. So I pulled my money because I told myself I'm not going to lose any more money. And then what happened? COVID hit. Everybody, no one's going out to the store. Everybody's Amazoning. It jumped all the way up to over $3,000 a share. Look how much money I lost because I got scared, because I couldn't handle the risk. I couldn't leave it and walk away and let it do what it do. So I lost money, or I lost the potential at making more money. So that's one thing I can say about investing. Either you're going to watch it if you're one of those day traders and you're looking up and down and you can move stuff real quick. If you don't have the time to do that because you have a regular 8 to 5 job, then be prepared to take the risk. Be prepared to put the money in the stock market, walk away, let it do what it do, because it's long-term investment. It's what you're going to earn over a long period of time. So if you're not in a position to lose, then you might not want to invest. That might not be where you want to put your savings. So let's talk about more practical places to put your money. How about a high yield savings account? High yield, you're usually not going to find that at your brick and mortar bank, like your Chase and your Bank of America or your Wells Fargo. You're going to find high yield savings accounts with American Express Savings, Discover Savings, Marcus Sachs Savings, Synchrony Savings, Everbank Savings. Look online. Yes, I said online. I've been doing it for many, many years. It's safe. You can open a high yield savings account. It pays more. Now, it still goes by the market. They used to pay 1.52% because of the market and COVID and market changes. It's down to, 1% now, or a little bit less than 1%. But it's better than your brick and mortar bank. Your brick and mortar bank, right now, Chase is paying 0.05%, so not even 0.1%, 0.05%. So this little of nothing, almost zero. So if you want anything for your money, find a high yield savings account or a CD account. What is a CD account? It's a certificate of deposit. Now, there's a caveat to it. You can't touch your money for a specific amount of time. You can get a 6-month CD, 12-month CD, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year CD. That means you can't touch that money for that period of time. And if you do, then there's a penalty. So, but that's okay. If you know you want to put money away, you have a lump sum of money, maybe you have a tax return that doesn't have a particular purpose. It's really additional money. Put it in a CD that you can't touch and let that money grow over that period of time. And if you're afraid of leaving it for too long, do a 6-month one or a 12-month one. But if you're very disciplined and you want to let that money grow for your future self, put it away for, 3 years and let the interest compound. That means you're going to get, let's say, $10 in March. You have $1,000. And let's say at the end of March, you now have 1,010. Well, guess what? That interest is now going to be on 1,010. And let's say next month you have 1,020. That interest is going to be on 1,020. It's compounding. It's not the same amount each month because it's on your basis changes. Some pay monthly, some compound daily. So your basis is changing daily. That's how you make money. It's not quick. It's not a quick thing. Money earns and compounds over time. Give yourself time to earn money. Okay, here's another place to put money, an IRA account. IRA is an individual retirement account. Guess what? You get a tax deduction up to $6,000. You can contribute $6,000 or more a year, but the max tax deduction is $6,000. You get to take $6,000 off your taxable income when you file your tax return if you contributed to an IRA. If your husband, if you're married, your husband, your wife, your spouse, and they're over 55, they get to contribute $7,000. But if you're married, regardless of your age, you both can do a tax deduction on an IRA account. So there's several places to put your money. In the market investments, high yield savings, CD account, treasury stocks, IRA account, anywhere but under your mattress. Put your money anywhere but in your sock drawer because it's not making any money in your sock drawer. It's not making any money in the can on top of your dresser. Put your money somewhere so your money can make money and your savings will grow. All right, so we're going to summarize our time here. What's the bottom line? How do we wrap all this up? Saving money can help you pay for large purchases. It can help you avoid debt. It can help you reduce your financial stress. It leaves a financial legacy. And savings can provide you with a greater sense of financial freedom. I saw a meme the other day, and it said, if my checking account says $100 and my savings account says $300, the question was, how much money do you have? And some people are saying 400, 400, 400. No, the answer is all I have is 100. I do not touch my savings, but that's an intentional mindset. Your savings has its own purpose. It's not extra money. So most importantly, savings is part of your financial plan, a healthy financial plan. It's part of your financial blueprint for your life. It's not just what's left over. It's not just fallback money. It's on purpose for a purpose. Now, I hope that makes sense to you. Your savings is on purpose for a purpose. So let's be intentional in saving. Let's be intentional on making our money work for us. Let's be intentional on thinking about our future self. Let's be less selfish now And let's set our future self up for an even better situation. I'm Melissa Cranen, and I'm here on behalf of Times of Expression and Refreshing Ministries, and we're talking about financial health. We're talking about being whole financially. We are talking about showing our children a better way of living, a more responsible way of living. We're talking about setting up a sound financial legacy for ourselves, for our children, for our retirement. We're talking about being healthy. And it all starts with having a plan. We read it earlier in Habakkuk. We read it in Proverbs. Where there's a vision, you need to write it and make it plain. And in Proverbs, it said, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. But when you're hasty and when you're irresponsible, it leads to poverty. That's what the word of God says. And we believe the word of God because the word of God is true and it is life for us. So let's have life financially, healthy life. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. If you got anything out of what I had to share with you today, share it with someone else. Join TER Ministries, Times of Expression and Refreshing. Join our Facebook group page. We have information all day long, not just about financial health. How about practical ways for having a healthy emotional life and a healthy mental life and healthy spiritual life as well? They all work together. Let's not leave anything out. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day. God bless you.